Hey, how's it going, everybody? So I decided that I'd start giving vlogging a bit of a go. Also gives people a chance to see what's actually happening inside the market garden. And I wanted to give everybody who helped support my crowdfunding campaign a chance to see what happened with their money. Now, on my crowdfunding campaign, I was hoping to raise about 65,000 Rand, which didn't happen. I only managed to raise about 10% of that. So most of the work that's been happening, most of the things that we've purchased for the garden has come out of my own pocket. And in order for me to generate those funds, what I did was I actually sold 2 instruments to some friends. So luckily, if I want to play those instruments, I can actually give them a call and say, hey, Tracy and Rian, can I come and play my instruments? So the instruments aren't far away. A lot of the time for this garden to be set up has been infrastructure. There's been a lot of time on infrastructure. The ground is probably the #1 consumer of time. We've been doing a hell of a lot of digging, and in this ground there has been an immense amount of stone, which I'm going to also, there's small bits and pieces that you never think of when you start setting up a whole garden project that you think will be quick to fetch, but actually, you know, it takes a lot of time to find them. The fencing, for instance, I had to get on the other side of Johannesburg in Germiston because it was the best priced. But at first they didn't have the size that I wanted. I wanted 1.5 meters, and then I had to settled for 1.2 because of shipping issues, because of COVID-19. So finally I have some fencing that's come up. Also putting in the fence posts, how it was actually going to be arranged, how to fit, because sometimes we do let horses into this open area amongst the houses, and the market garden's right in the middle. So I really had to think about how that was going to really integrate the horses and the land and the general movement of people around the yard, plus the chickens. The chickens have been driving me nuts because every time I make a bed, we've dug it, we dig down deep about a fork's depth, lift the soil, take out the stone. So we basically sifted out all the hard rock, made the bed, put in compost, sorted it, looks beautiful, soft. The chickens think so too. They come in there and they scratch around in there and they throw my bed all over the place. So they've really been driving me nuts. But it's all been a learning curve, how to be patient, how to work with nature. It's also been really great having Kojo here because he moved onto the farm just before the lockdown really ended, or when they were allowing people to move, he moved onto the farm. And having his help has been invaluable because most of the work was being done by myself. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays I have Clive, a Malawian guy who lives up the road, who comes in and helps me. And yeah, so money has been a real thing. So selling those instruments really helped with bringing bucks in. So yeah, I'm going to take you a bit on a tour, show you what's been going on in the garden. I hope I haven't left anything out. I'm going to show you the garden and the greenhouse. Thanks for watching. So the no dig method. So no dig really means that we're not digging the soil or pulling or turning the soil. But with my starting up of this market garden, I'm required to dig in this soil because of the amount of stone that resides in this ground, which is mostly quartz rock, quartz pebbles. This whole massive pile in front is the quartz that has come out of the beds over there. That's only, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beds, 10 meters long. And that is the amount of stone that we've pulled out. Well, there's been more. We've been slowly digging away and putting them into bags, taking those bags up onto the dirt road and repairing sections of the road that need some support, that have maybe been washed away, because we're also building swales to slow the water down. So these help to fill up some of those areas. Um, so it's going to take about a full year of growth before this soil stabilizes and the no dig method really begins to shine. So for now, I'm working with what I have. I've put a compost mix in these beds, which has been mostly made myself and by the Earth Center, where I go and collect, which is mostly made up of horse manure. Those horses are not stabled. They're left to roam naturally. They're in a herded state, and I know that a lot of people do worry about horse manure usage, particularly with different medications and stuff like that, but these horses are clean if anyone's worried. And I've been using it for the last 2 years anyway. These beds over here, so let's start with these beds. The reason why they're covered up like this in a very crude manner is because I don't have long sheets yet. I'm still waiting for some bucks to get a lot of bird netting. But for now, the first bed, which is just covered underneath there, is carrots. This bed over here is baby marrows and chives. This bed over here is going to be okra and eggplants. This bed is made up of flowers, which is dahlias, cornflowers, snapdragons, marigolds. The whole bed is just going to be covered in flowers. This bed over here is going to be beans, Sowezi dry beans, which will creep up onto the teepee towers. This one over here is going to be Swiss chard, mixed with some other companion plants that will go with there. And this bed over here is my pomodoro tomatoes. So these will be quite tall. I haven't put in the fence line yet to support the beans. I'm actually going to do posts. This will be quite tall, and this will be quite tall, which will create enough shade for green lettucey, spinachy type plants to grow around over here. So that's that protection. This whole area over here, we've still got to dig. So there's still a lot of stone that's going to come out. Over here, I'm busy with a little project here. I'm going to be doing hoops that are going to go over from this wooden line over here, which will hoop over and then down to that wooden post over there, maybe about 5 or so. Sorry about the wind on the mic, it is still the windiest season before the rains come. And that's going to be about 3 meters wide. So there'll be an archway, and there'll be cucumbers growing up on this side, cucumbers growing up on that side. So when you walk in through here, you can actually sit underneath and pick the cucumbers off the fence that'll be hung. I'm looking forward to seeing how that all turns out. So next, let's go have a look at the polytunnel. So welcome to the germination station. This hothouse has been a real game changer for me, because most of the time when I germinated seeds in trays, I'd always leave my trays outside in the open, and I'd get a varied response on my plants. Been doing that for years, and this is the first time I actually have a enclosed environment for seeds to germinate in. I've had a really good time here so far. I've managed to germinate some plants which I've had some difficulty with. Echinacea has been one that stood out for me. I managed to germinate one echinacea plant at the end of 2018, which I nursed through winter because it was quite young. At the end of summer it germinated then, and it survived through winter, and then really became quite bountiful in the summer season of 2019. And from 2019 it produced a lot of seed. I saved that seed, and thanks to my friend Edine, who, thank you for giving me that advice, she told me I should freeze the seed and then plant out the seed, which I now have 80% germination from home saved echinacea seed from that one plant. Edine is from Rebel Seeds, so thanks Edine. I've also been able to germinate chamomile. My relationship with chamomile has been quite interesting. As you can hear on most of the films that I do, I have a nasally voice, and that's mostly because I have nasal polyps. I have a nasal polyp on my left hand side, which is really frustrating. And I've been dealing with it now for 5 years, and I can't take any painkillers of any sort, because what actually happens is I have a very hectic allergic reaction which causes both my nasal passages to completely block up, and it stays that way for anywhere from 24 hours to 48 hours. Chamomile has been a saving grace, but most of the chamomile that I've consumed has been normal store-bought irradiated fresh herbed loose pack, and I've been trying to communicate with chamomile, please can I grow you? And 2 years before, I managed to germinate a few. They grew and they died. They didn't like where I planted them, so I was like, okay, they don't like how I'm growing them. And this time around I've germinated them again, but this time all of the cells have germinated. The tray's up there. I'm not going to show you because this camera is on autopilot right now and I might lose the tracking. The other thing has been these marigolds. These marigolds were a real interesting experience, because mostly when I've grown marigolds in the past, I've planted the marigolds in cells, 3 per cell. If I planted them in a 24 tray tray, I'd probably get like 3 or 4, maybe 5 cells that have actually germinated. I watched a YouTube video from an Indian guy who showed his method of germinating marigolds, and he spoke about 70% vermicompost, was 10% compost, and I think 20% sand or something like that, and some vermiculite was the other one. I didn't do that much vermicompost. I used 40% vermicompost, 30% 40% vermicompost, 40% compost, and 20% sand mixed with some vermiculite. I've got like a lot of germination going on here with the marigolds. So the marigolds are going to be planted out. Oh, also they're not in individual cells, they're planted in a flat tray, which I'm going to prick out and then put them into cells, and then I'll slowly plant them out where I want them in the beds. I've got some extra baby marrows which are going to my friend Matthew. He lives up the road, so a lot of the stuff on the side here has actually been germinated for him. Otherwise the rest has already been planted, but you can't see that what I filmed in earlier. So that's the germination station. That's what's been going on here, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. I've still got to build the trays that are going to hold all the seedling trays. So that's going to be built in here and over here, and then it'll start looking like a proper germination room. Right now they're just kind of scattered everywhere, but there's a lot going on here with the infrastructure. So that's how it is. It's looking good so far.